Ichigo's been like lurking just to taunt her, I think.
Understand how good you
Hey, Mark,
How about now?
I can hear you.
Okay, now you can see me.
So, yeah. So it wasn't until like 5 minutes ago that I was like, wait a second, it's totally Friday night. What was she thinking sending out an invite
Now,
to the meeting?
Friday night at 5:30,
What?
what were you
Oh,
thinking?
right? Yeah, sorry.
And
Again.
hopefully, I know Brian's not going to make it. It's his anniversary evening. They're going out to dinner, Mr. Hanson.
Okay. And Sabrina can't make it. She's on her way home from Connecticut or something. And yeah, well,
Did you hear about Brad Colorado?
yeah,
Oh my God. That's
yeah,
just terrible.
yeah, that
I
is.
didn't know he was sick, but geez. Yeah,
I didn't
Meredith
know it
told me
was
about that
cancer.
today.
Yeah,
Huh?
I didn't know it was cancer. I knew he had been battling stuff, but
Oh,
yeah,
geez.
yeah, that's really awful.
That's brutal. He was a good one.
He
That
really
guy.
was. Yeah.
Too many of these folks around my age. I've got another buddy that's struggling right now. I don't know if you know Matt Woodard, built a lot of homes in Lake County and Hidden Valley, Middletown.
The name is familiar.
Yeah, done a ton of stuff around here, but just cancer, you know,
Sorry.
it's
Just thinking,
brutal.
yeah, I was thinking that people our age are kind of getting to the point where they don't say, "Oh, they died so young" anymore, you know?
Yeah.
That's kind of weird. Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna start on time, and this meeting will probably take about 10 minutes. 7, if you don't have a lot to say.
No, yeah, I did the best I could with the survey.
Awesome.
Definitely have some things that need to be discussed. So it really wasn't, there was no agenda or anything for this meeting, so I didn't know what was going to happen or.
Yep. No, I appreciate you showing up. I wasn't able to really make much of an agenda because there's Margot. Let me let her
We
in.
haven't had a meeting yet, really. So.
No, this is our first one. It's a little underwhelming as far as agenda goes, but I have a reason. So. Hey, Margot, thanks for joining. I can't believe I scheduled this for a Friday night. I'm so sorry. One of the things I wanted to do before we adjourn is just to set up some future meetings. So let's start at the beginning. We'll go ahead and get started. It's 5:30. And sorry if you hear barking. I adopted a dog yesterday. She's a puppy. So she's needy. Not like cats. Anyway, so the core team decided to extend the deadline for the second survey because we wanted to reach people at Lake County Fair. And so because of that, it puts off the date where we had the results of the survey. And so as I was trying to think of topics that the LAPAC could really start jumping into, most of the substantive ones are actually covered in the survey. So we do need the results. And so I figured I didn't want to cancel our first meetings this week. I wanted to sort of get us together. Get us together and talk about if you had any questions about the survey or if you had any concerns about it, or then the next thing, are there any tools that I can supply to the LAPAC members in general that you think might be helpful going forward? I have a few already on the list. And I'll cover that. And then finally, just setting up some meetings for when we can start really talking about stuff, which will be the second week in October. The survey results should come out on an internal draft form on the 2nd. And I'm just going to drop everything I'm doing, review them, get it back so that we can hopefully have them out by like the 4th or 5th. At which point I will immediately distribute it to all LAPAC members and our meetings will start that following week. I'd like to schedule about 3 meetings, 2 of which will be virtual and which will be in person. And the one that's in person, we'll talk about, we'll actually get out our Sharpies and Post-it notes and I'll kind of look around some large maps and talk about planning area boundaries, community growth boundaries, any land use amendments, things like that. We'll just start talking on the important stuff and see how far we can get. But did either of you have any questions or concerns on the second community survey?
Well, maybe some suggestions, but I'll wait. Leave
Mark, well, you don't have to
just-
wait all that long. There's only two of us, so.
Oh, okay.
You know.
Oh, okay, I'll just jump in. So I think it would have been really helpful to have some additional information similar to what the League of Women Voters provides, especially when it came to the community boundaries. Like whether the airport area should be annexed. And also a little more explanation about, okay, so what's with this area near
Up on
the
Reeves.
yeah, and it has to do with keeping the tribal lands together. So a little more background on why that's being considered and like neutral language for pros and cons.
Yeah, I think so. I agree. Additional information would have been helpful, but who's A? I'm letting somebody named A in. But we didn't want the survey to be like 50 pages. We stopped at like 30 pages.
Right.
So,
Right.
but those are valid questions, and that's why I want our MAP meetings to be in person so that we can all kind of be looking at the same thing at the same time and
Yeah.
talk about that. But yeah, no, I totally hear what you're saying. I agree. Was there anything else?
No, not from me. Sort of the same things as Margot there. There wasn't any real discussion on, I saw they included a couple properties in Kelseyville. They extended the lie down on the growth boundary with no discussion. I did see the area over by BVR over there that was sectioned out. Not a lot of discussion. So it will be nice to start talking about it, how certain property owners may want to look at their zoning. I know we were able to do that 30 years ago.
That is one of the points of it, of this process. Yes.
Yeah, and getting out to the community is like, if you want to, consider, your property. I mean, right now ag is a big problem because the ag guys are getting crushed. They're not getting, their contracts are getting kicked out, their walnuts aren't getting paid for. So they may want to start looking at some base zoning on their ag land and looking at some other things, but
they may want to. They're going to encounter a lot of difficulty with that, only because when we redid the general plan, we did that ag element and set up the whole ag element advisory board at that time. And at that time we had like Ray Mostyn and Bobby Dutcher, all kinds of like different types of ag people, and they wanted to take it down because right now it's a 40-acre minimum on ag for prime ag soils. They wanted to take it down to like 10, and the board said no. Only because once you get down to 10, then you're into ranchettes, you're into primary residential use, and there goes your commercial, like the continuity that's necessary for large enough parcels to make ag viable disappears. So, but that's only one example. This is the time for people who have projects in mind to come in and talk about certain areas. Like that's how Maha did it. They came in and during that area plan update, got a new kind of special study area just for that focus. And so we have gotten a few requests. If it's in general toward the ag, they're going to have, they're going to have a countywide opportunity to discuss it when we go over the ag element, because that's going to go, I was thinking, maybe we can do, well, one of our stakeholder meetings where we get a bunch of groups together is specifically to talk about agriculture. So that's where I would route the, I want to change stuff because I have,
base zoning, like I said, I've been through all this and done all this. I changed ag to commercial. My property was in the growth boundary. I remember the fights back then. I know I wouldn't have that same fight today as I did back then. But this is the time for these guys to look at it. And
absolutely. Yeah. For specific project ideas, totally bring them to LAPAC. general sort of ag related countywide kind of stuff, that's going to go to a stakeholder meeting for ag, which I think is going to be in October sometime. But let's definitely do our best to get the word out there. I'll get a flyer that maybe we could put up at Kelseyville Ag or Kelseyville Lumber, and as well as other places, and get it distributed far and wide to all of our ag folk, so that
So when will property owners have an opportunity to speak up about their particular parcels? For example, I've got 8.5 acres up behind the lumberyard that's zone ag outside of the area boundary.
Mhm.
They just stated that it's not viable to do ag on. What do I do with it?
Yeah, good. If you
And
have an idea.
those are the kind of things that, you know, there may be some other people that's just one thing, but you know,
Yeah.
like I said, there's a lot of stuff to go over here, and
people have been waiting for this opportunity.
yeah.
So we'll need to schedule probably a specific LAPAC meeting just for that. So that, knowing that we may get such a robust community response, that'll take up our meeting.
And the other thing too, maybe you know, I've done some meeting schedulers for people where they'll send out like 4 or 5 dates for meetings, and everybody in the group can click on their availability.
Like a doodle poll.
Sometimes instead of you like, you know, just setting a date for, you know, Friday, October 11th, and Mark's gone on his fishing trip, you know, maybe like 5 or 6 dates where we can pick, like, I'm available these 3 or 4 out of 6. You know, maybe
Okay.
a different way to, rather than just, I mean, obviously picking Friday at 5:30 didn't work too well tonight. So,
Yeah.
so we don't have these kind of meetings where nobody's here.
Right.
That's just
Okay.
a suggestion.
I will send out a doodle poll, probably for that specific meeting. Or I could send out 3 doodle polls. Why don't I do that? I'll send out 3 doodle polls with some options, and we'll see which gets the best response coming. Hey.
Yeah.
We'll do the best response for each of those meetings. Oh, Sabrina did make it. All right, awesome. And whoever is there that is named A, you want to turn your camera on or announce yourself so I know who A is, please? You're most welcome to join.
I'll go
And
ahead and change my name. Sorry, Marie. I didn't realize that that's what it said.
it didn't say guest, so I didn't know it was you.
I just wanted to poke in and see how these are progressing, what's being discussed, just in anticipation of ours coming up.
Yeah. So Angela, basically, because of the extension of the deadline of the surveys, we're about 2 weeks behind in LAPAC meetings. So the purpose of the meetings that we've been having this week, and we'll follow up with next week, have all been talking about the second survey. If we had any questions, if there are any tools or documents or somehow anything that I could supply that will assist LAPAC members in getting up to speed or understanding land use, and then scheduling future meetings. So you haven't missed much.
All right, thank you. Can I just point out one thing on the second survey real quick?
Sure, go ahead. Why not?
There was an issue on the well, I know for our area, but where it says the boundaries, where it said select the communities that you want included, you could only pick one. You couldn't pick multiples, but we can discuss that at our meeting.
Yeah, and we can actually we'll continue doing work on that. But we can do that at a LAPAC meeting, no problem.
Thank you.
Yeah, see ya. Have a good weekend.
You too.
Good job, Sabrina. Glad you made it. We were just we're actually almost done. We talked about a couple suggestions on the survey, or a couple concerns or challenges we encountered. I'm going to send out a doodle poll for 3 separate Kelseyville LAPAC meetings, one of which will be in person. Hopefully we can have it at the senior center or the Kelseyville Event Center, as well as their topics, and we'll get started that second week in October. Our survey results should be out to the public by the end of that first week of October. And that'll give LAPAC a few days, or all our LAPAC members a few days, before we start jumping into our more substantive meetings. That is all I have. Does anybody else have anything else?
Oh, I have a suggestion.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is a follow-up to the email exchange that we had earlier today. I haven't had a chance to take a look at what is posted on the Lake County 2050 as far as the general plan or the GPAC meeting summaries. But what I think would be more helpful more helpful for LAPAC is seeing a document that's like ready to go, like a working draft. So it would be a compilation of the issues identified by GPAC and affirmed by consensus that I think would be a good introduction to LAPAC at what are the top of mind issues that GPAC has identified.
I think I have notes on the last GPAC meeting that should have been reviewed and posted already, but I haven't gone on to the website to confirm that. But yeah, that's a great idea. I think that it would be helpful for everybody if we knew what each group was thinking. You know,
Yeah,
not necessarily every LAPAC to each other, but LAPAC
right.
connecting with GPACs and back and forth. Yeah, good idea. I just wrote that down.
Okay, thanks.
My pleasure. All right, sending out doodle poll, future meetings. Oh, one other thing that's coming your way is a short informational page about the different land use designations, what they mean and what we usually see there. I'm going to modify what we had available during the surveys to also add the normal or the most commonly seen zoning districts that correspond with the general land use. Most of them are direct correlations, so you won't be surprised. And then secondly, we're going to produce PDF and hard copy maps of the planning area with the proposed boundary amendments. And so that's the outside area of the planning area, along with roads and existing land use designations, probably the community growth boundaries. And I think that might be it. So that way, when we do hover around the table all together with a large scale map, we can kind of, would you knock that off? We can get context on the areas that we're talking about and be able to really flesh them out easily. So, and then you'll also have a PDF version for your own enjoyment,
Right.
placemats or, you know, whatever. That's all I've got. Anybody? Sabrina, do you have anything?
Yeah, hi Maria and everyone. Apologies. And I'm sorry if this was already discussed. When we are able to see results of the survey, is that going to be in broad strokes like an exec summary, or are we getting raw data on individual responses that you received?
I think it may be similar to the first survey report, which first had just general overview, everybody together, and then they broke it up into planning area. So, and then they also gave us a report on all the demographics, stuff like that. They did a whole bunch of reports, slicing and dicing and synthesizing and stuff like that. And then they also had attached at the end, like write-in comments that weren't covered specifically by any of the survey questions to make sure that we did anything.
Okay, thank you.
My pleasure. Anybody have anything else?
I have a question slash suggestion.
Okay.
So when we get to the question of zoning, so in the second survey, there were questions about, oh, should we have zoning changed? And to be honest, I had no idea, whether certain kinds of businesses should be allowed, like garages and warehouses and such. So I think, again, it would be, helpful to have like neutral language around what are the pros, what are the cons, or, examples, because I had no idea.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. Also, the land use designation info sheet will also help you to sort of vision what those things could be also. So, and that's kind of my job, is to help fill in the pros and cons ideas. So using just regular planning best management practices, like you really don't want to stick your welding shop next to your elementary school or, in the middle of your neighborhood. Those kind of things, when you make them that stark, are very apparent, and but I'm happy. That's kind of my job, is to help us all be able to visualize so that you can bring your community expertise, which is why you were appointed, to the table. And together, my government ease and your local knowledge will result in hopefully a very successful community vision.
Sounds good.
So if at any time anybody has any questions, like it gets too plain or easy, like too like abstract or what, you know, the lingo, you lost on the lingo, then let me know, because it's my goal to make sure that we all understand what we're talking about as we move forward. Don't feel bad. Don't feel like you're expected to know this stuff, because really I didn't know this stuff till I started working in planning. So I admire your your willingness to jump in. All right. Anything else?
One quick thing, Maria, are you guys posting these links for these meetings anywhere besides, I mean, I got mine in an email, but are you posting them out for the general public to
That is
chime
my
in or
goal for
participate?
our future meeting starting in October.
Okay,
So
thank
once
you.
we get satisfied on dates, then I'm going to start putting it out on our press releases, our Facebook page, everywhere and anywhere that it will take it. Maybe in that county newsletter that they just started, if I haven't missed the deadline. But yeah, that's when we really are going to start pushing to. We'll do the email notification blasts to what is now a pretty significant email list. Just trying to encourage as much public participation as possible as we move forward.
All
Yeah.
right, thank you.
And I'm going to count on all my LAPAC people too to help talk about it around town. All right, I lied. I thought it was going to be 10 minutes. It's 19 already. I blew it. But I promise I will not even offer Friday evening as an option in the doodle. If there's nothing else, I want to thank you guys. Really, very, very good sports for showing up on a Friday evening. And my dog's chewing on something, so I'm going to adjourn and go see what I just lost.
Okay.
Thanks,
Maria.
everybody.
You.